You never break down in public because the world around you has long been used to your reinforced concrete strength. Your biggest fear isn't the crisis itself, but the exact moment your hands start to shake, and everyone sees that the foundation holding up their entire comfort is actually made of fragile glass. You've learned to swallow your own tears so fast that your body has started to perceive this pain as chronic background noise. The psychology of hyperindependence is always a story about a deep childhood trauma where you had to grow up far too early for your own parents or circumstances. When a child realizes that protection is nowhere to be found, they make a subconscious decision. I will become my own wall. And now, that wall has become your prison. You are trapped in the role of the savior, forgetting that the one who constantly pulls everyone else out of the mud is quietly drowning from exhaustion. Your phone is blowing up with messages where everyone is asking for advice, support, or just wants to cry on your shoulder. And you answer. You find the right words. You heal the emotional wounds of others, spending the very last drops of your inner resource. But when you turn off the screen, a total, ringing emptiness remains in the room. You look at your contact list and realize a wild, absurd thing. You have absolutely no one to write, "I'm doing bad," to. Not because there are no people around, but because nobody would believe in your weakness. They take your strength for granted, like a free, unlimited subscription service. You're strong, you'll handle it. This phrase has become your worst curse. It sounds like the world's permission to completely ignore your inner cry for help. People see your results, your new goals, and your closed deadlines, but nobody sees your cracks. They don't know that your autonomy isn't a choice. It is a forced evacuation from a reality where you were once brutally betrayed. When you finally find yourself alone, instead of relief, a dull, paralyzing shame sets in. You feel ashamed that you are tired, ashamed that you no longer want to be useful, no longer want to save anyone, and just want to completely vanish from the radar. The psyche of a person who is used to controlling everything punishes itself for any manifestation of weakness, viewing it as a defect or a loss in this invisible war. You begin to experience emotional numbness, a state where the heart no longer produces either pain or joy, simply to avoid burning out from the overload. This is a defense mechanism. Your brain shuts off the emotional breakers, turning you into a robot that functions perfectly but feels absolutely nothing. The deep insight is that your strength is not a blessing. It is a form of chronic stress where you wage a daily war against your own need to be protected. You hold up the whole world, but inside you, there is only one question that tightens your throat. Who holds the one who holds everyone? This vacuum inside you is a direct consequence of your own choice to always be the one controlling every single inch of space. You've convinced yourself that asking for help means showing a vulnerability that will inevitably be weaponized against you. Etched deeply into your experience is a moment when your "I'm struggling" went completely unheard, and your psyche built a rigid defense algorithm. Safety only exists where everything depends solely on you. That is why, consciously or subconsciously, you choose people who are weaker than you, people who constantly need a life jacket. It is much easier for you to control someone else's crisis than to take a risk and trust someone who is potentially stronger. Because a strong person by your side is a threat to the armor you've spent years building. It would force you to drop the mask of the reinforced concrete controller and face your own small, terrified inner child, who just wants to finally be held and told, "You don't have to be iron anymore. I will handle everything." This is not the kind of exhaustion you can cure with 8 hours of sleep, a hot shower, or a weekend away from your phone. This is a chronic exhaustion of the soul, which has carried someone else's responsibility, someone else's expectations, someone else's resentments and fears for far too long. You've become a hostage to your own flawless image. The world around you has believed in your indispensability and omnipotence so deeply that any attempt of yours to set hard boundaries is now perceived by others as selfishness, coldness, or betrayal. And so you give in again, saying yes to other people's whims while automatically saying no to yourself. The deep insight of your condition is that you are looking for peace in external things, in work, in taking care of someone else. But you cannot find it because your internal territory is completely occupied by other people's problems. You have burned your own space to the ground, leaving only the dry, bare walls of duty. True courage for you right now is not about taking another punch from fate or saving yet another life. Your ultimate courage is to allow yourself to fall to pieces, to allow yourself to be imperfect, tired, irritated, weak, and completely helpless. The world will not collapse if you drop your hands for a while and stop spinning this planet. The ones to whom you truly matter will stay by your side even when your iron wall crumbles, while those who are just using your resource for free will quietly leave, and that will be your greatest liberation. You don't need to prove your right to exist every single day through superhuman efforts. You have the right to just be held, without any conditions, without any buts. Your strength isn't going anywhere if you finally allow yourself to be weak. Because only by allowing yourself to capitulate to your own exhaustion can you clear the space for someone who is ready to hold you while you hold the entire world.